All right, we're still joining The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions into one film. And I know we left off at the freeway chase scene, but I want to back up for a bit so we can talk about the Merovingian. I love this character, seriously, and I love how the actor portrays this character. He's absolutely brilliant in this role. However, when we're introduced to him, the Wachowskis decide to go heavy-handed, yet again, with philosophy in the script, and it's all at the expense of good storytelling. Let's look at the original scene.
The question is, do you know why you are here?
We are looking for the keymaker.
Oh yes, it is true. The keymaker, of course. But this is not a reason, this is not a why.
Okay, so we're setting up the Merovingian to get a why out of Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity. That is what the Merovingian wants. So let's continue.
The keymaker himself, his very nature, is a means, it is not an end. And so, to look for him is to be looking for a means to do what?
You know the answer to that question.
But do you? You think you do, but you do not.
The Merovingian still doesn't have that why, and now he's hinting that he knows more than Neo about what Neo's purpose is within the Matrix. So the Merovingian feels that he's in a position of power, and he's clearly showing this.
You are here because you were sent here. You were told to come here, and then you obeyed. It is, of course, the way of all things. You see, there is only one constant, one universal. It is the only real truth. Causality.
So now, the Merovingian is going to talk about a philosophical belief that's supposed to tie in with the overall story. The problem here is that this causality stuff contradicts what was just set up concerning the Merovingian as a character in a position of power and control.
Action, reaction, cause, and effect.
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without. Look there, at that woman.
Why does Morpheus engage with the Merovingian in this philosophical conversation? Remember when Neo did the same with the counselor, and that made Neo look stupid? Well, now we have Morpheus appearing to be a similar sort of stupid, because in the story, for one character to explain something to the audience, another character has to have a need for that knowledge. And when a character really doesn't have a need for that knowledge, all the writers accomplish is unnaturally pushing this information on the audience. So, do you see how the Wachowskis inserting philosophy where it really doesn't fit just makes the characters look bad, on top of bogging down the story?
Causality. There is no escape from it. We are forever slaves to it. Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it, to understand the why. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless.
And now the Merovingian is connecting the why with having power, which is valid. But since the initial why talk was already telling Neo that Neo doesn't know why he's there, making Neo seem not in a position of power, but in a position of submission to the person who sent him to the Merovingian for a specific purpose, then all the causality talk is completely unnecessary. Let's see how this scene plays out without all the causality talk inserted into it.
The question is, do you know why you are here?
We are looking for the keymaker.
Oh yes, it is true. The keymaker, of course. But this is not a reason, this is not a why.
Okay, same as the original scene, the Merovingian wants a why, and he already knows that Neo and company can't provide it. Let's keep going.
The keymaker himself, his very nature, is a means, it is not an end. And so, to look for him is to be looking for a means to do what?
You know the answer to that question.
But do you? You think you do, but you do not.
Again, same setup as before. Now let's see the change.
You are here because you were sent here. You were told to come here, and then you obeyed. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless. And this is how you come to me, without why, without power.
Do you see how well that flowed together without all the causality talk getting in the way? Now we're focused on the why, and we're focused on Neo not having that why, and therefore not having power. The Merovingian, knowing the why, sees himself as powerful, as being in control of the situation and in control of Neo's fate, which completely contradicts his argument that even he is not in control within the Matrix, even though his causality example showed that he does exert a level of control within the Matrix. If the Merovingian really believed he wasn't in control, then he would hand over the keymaker to Neo, knowing that Neo would acquire the keymaker from him anyway. The Merovingian would simply not resist, knowing Neo's role and that it would inevitably be fulfilled. After all, he was arguing with Morpheus that choice is simply an illusion. So if he believes he's not in control, then the Merovingian would be engaging in that illusion, even though he's aware of the illusion. If the Merovingian doesn't have the luxury of choice, then how can he, even as an anomaly, choose to hide within the Matrix? So, all that causality and we're not in control talk was for nothing, and that's why it needs to be cut. Also, we're now strengthening the Merovingian as a character. He now doesn't spend too much time with Neo and company because he doesn't have to. He doesn't feel the need to sit there and explain his philosophy of how things work. He now acts as if Neo and company are unworthy of his presence. Of course, once Neo and company obtain the keymaker, they can get Neo to his visit with the architect and move on to what I refer to as the second half of a single story. The question then becomes, how do we transition from Reloaded to Revolutions in as simple a way as possible without any junk weighing it down? I mean, this isn't even a good cliffhanger ending anyway. So first, we have to look at the ending of Reloaded and the start of Revolutions to see how the two movies fit together and decide if there's a need to alter this, and if so, where the new points are that will allow us to join the new films seamlessly. Reloaded ends with Neo falling into a coma while discovering an ability to feel and shut down the Sentinels when in close proximity. Revolutions begins by showing us that Neo's mind is inside a place that's not the Matrix. This would make sense if the Wachowskis ran with this idea through the entire movie, that Neo has the ability to enter and exit a computer program, such as Not the Matrix, or The Matrix, at will. Anyway, at the start of Revolutions, while Neo's physical body is in a coma, Morpheus and Trinity, after asking the Oracle if she knows of Neo's whereabouts, confront the Merovingian to demand that he take them to Neo. When the Merovingian refuses, Trinity points a gun to his head and makes the demand again. Going completely out of character, the Merovingian simply agrees. How the Merovingian behaves in Revolutions compared to Reloaded isn't consistent for his character. The benefit of cutting that entire subplot is that we're able to remove another inconsistency that takes place early in the film. When Neo falls into the coma, his mind is transported into some place that's not within the Matrix, without any physical connection. However, when Morpheus and Trinity pull Neo out of this place that's not within the Matrix, he wakes up to Trinity pulling the physical connection from him. Since the physical connection wasn't the method for entering this place that's not the Matrix, then a physical connection shouldn't be necessary to exit this place that's not the Matrix. It's as I said earlier, the Wachowskis really didn't go all the way with this idea, and it would have been cool if Neo could enter and exit the Matrix at will without a physical connection. But anyway, since that whole idea wasn't executed very well, and since it's not necessary for the overall story of Reloaded and Revolutions, we can just cut it.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
How are you feeling? Are you all right?
Instead, we can see Neo fall unconscious after stopping the Sentinels, then watch him wake up in a chair as if he was brought aboard the ship and just woke right up.
Neo!
How are you feeling? Are you all right?
In essence, we reduce how much of an effect stopping the Sentinels has on Neo, which gives us a more consistent look considering what happens later when Neo destroys the machines in front of him while physically weakening but not falling into another coma. Alright, that's all for now. Be sure to look for the final video in this series, which will cover more cuts and alterations we can make to The Matrix Revolutions.